Good evening. Welcome to Order Arcana. We're back. It's been like a month.
Baby.
We ended on a cliffhanger, which I guess is fun. That's how they do the TV. So welcome back. We'll see what happens with that cliffhanger. But without further ado, I am your Dungeon Master, Wes, and I'm here with some folks that are going to play some D&D. Namely, these folks. We've got Ansley and Seth on my left, and Matt and Tila. Almost forgot your name, Tila. Sorry. I was like, no.
It's been
Tila.
a long time.
There we go. Yeah, it's been a minute.
We don't talk to each other outside of D&D.
I know, right? Matt and Tila on the right.
Strictly D&D.
We are continuing on. We're going to call this Season 2 of A Dance in the Dark, which is an Eberron campaign that we play here on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/OrderMarcana. If you're watching this on YouTube, check us out there live on Thursdays. It's a good time. These players are nuts, and they mess up the story left and right, and it's fantastic. So check it out. But if you're here right now, we're about to play. So just real quick, want to remind everybody about our fantastic artist, Alexis. Check her out, Instagram and Twitter, at Tattoos by Alexis. She did these really cool artwork that we have on our initiative trackers and our character portraits and that stuff. So check her out, get you some artwork done. Tattoos by Alexis. You will be happy if you get something done by her. She does really cool work. Yeah, so I guess we're going to stop talking and we're going to play some fucking Dungeons & Dragons. Welcome back. So before we get started, I forgot one other thing. So Tila, who is our intrepid intellect sorcerer, I know, we do weird things around here, is also a fantastic artist, and she painted this really cool mind flayer on a like space sky with mushrooms and things for me. I haven't found a place to put it on the wall yet, but this is super awesome. I don't know if she does paintings for commission or something like that, but hey, you can shoot me an email and I'll ask her. But this is super cool, and I'm gonna hang it on my wall.
Or you can ask her here yourself.
All the time.
Yeah, just show
I mean,
up.
you could ask it in chat. We may not see
Our
it.
address is... I'm keeping an eye on the chat.
But that's okay. Yeah, Matt's watching chat. So, but yeah, awesome painting, Tila. Thank you very much. We're gonna find a place of respect, like on one of these walls, so it can be seen during the game.
Definitely on my bookcase right there. I
Yeah,
feel
I know,
like
right?
that's a great
If
place.
I can just put it on the bookshelf because it's a real bookshelf.
Wink.
Yeah.
TV magic.
That's where we go back in on the live edit. We'll just put in like the troll face. Troll. Anyway, so what's happened since the last time we played D&D? Let's recap the whole campaign thus far.
Well, we all gonna die.
Yep. The party met up. They were all traveling on an airship to the largest city in Corvair, known as Sharn. They've had several adventures working for different of the dragon-marked houses and different nobility and things of that, folks like that in their time in Sharn. And now they have left the city of Sharn to travel north to the city of Rote. And they're in search of and chasing down a mysterious wizard, sorcerer, warlock, spellcaster, they're not sure, by the name of, they assume, his initials they know, or they think, are DL. And they've been chasing this guy, and they've heard some things about him, but now they've heard that he has a different name, possibly. And while exploring this old ruin of a school where his laboratory was mentioned to be, they came across a room with a portal to a snowy tundra that looked like a dragon and an elf entwined in what can only be known as the throes of love. And Gendrix decided he was going to walk right on through it. A few minutes later, everyone else did the same, and they all started freezing to death because they were literally as far north about as you can go. But there was a tower on the horizon which they made their way to. Almost were eaten by a Remoraz, which is a big giant
Centipede.
fire snow lizard centipede thing. But thankfully, with some a bit of luck on their side and a
1
A
on
for-
a D100.
a fortuitous roll on a D100. An ancient spellcaster materialized outside of the tower that they were trying to get into and cast down the Remoraz and then invited them inside. And the last thing that we left off with was she told you that her name was Vol, which for all of you, that name probably inspires terror. So that is where we pick up our story. The four of you are sat around a table on the first floor of this tower, and this ancient lich is sitting at one end of the table. She looks like a mix between an elf and a dragon, what you as players from standard D&D would know as a dragonborn. But not a hulking sort of figure, very lithe and, in life probably would have been quite dexterous and agile. Not the hulking sort of form that we normally think of as dragonborn.
Like a lizard-born.
Yeah, sure. Big lizardborn. But anyway, you are sat at this table with this creature, and she just sort of looks across the table at you and says, "What brings you to my tower? It's not often that mortals make their way here."
Well, there was a portal,
I am aware I created it.
and I'm not quite sure why did we go through the portal again?
Gendrix decided he wanted to go through it.
Yes,
Your
child.
portal called to me.
I can see why it would, child of Eranal. But why seek me out?
Well, I
Surely you felt the warning.
have to
as
remember how
well.
Gendrix talks.
He's a bit of a fap.
I sure
do.
He's a
Wait,
little bit of a
fop.
dandy.
He's a fop. There we go.
Well, aside from calling to me, it also did not really tell me that you were here. It just seemed to tell me that I should come.
I see. Well, since you have come, what do you bring me?
Bring her?
I don't think that we would have anything of value to you.
I'm sure you know what is going on in the greater world.
Above game, Gendrix is still aware that he has something that she would probably be interested in his bag of holding.
Okay.
But he's going to try not to let that show.
Okay.
Above game, Ansley's really confused as to what Gendrix would actually want. I mean,
Okay.
well,
I've
how that she wants.
I've still got that schema
He's probably talking about the schema, yeah.
I didn't think she would want
that
schema.
that I was supposed to deliver to Elvanor that
Yeah.
I decided she shouldn't have either. Gendrix is just fucking everything up.
Yeah. But she just says, I am quite isolated here in my tower. I do not go out often. Tell me, how fare the Five Nations?
Well, when was the last that you heard of the Five Nations?
Oh, I do hear enough. I send out my soldiers. My warlocks come back on occasion and tell me of things, but it has been several months.
We've encountered some fans of yours in the wide world in our travels, but not that we've sought them out. They just happened to be where we were.
Is that so?
Yes.
You must have been looking for particularly powerful artifacts.
Not necessarily. We fancy ourselves a mercenary troop of sorts. We take on jobs for hire and try to make a little coin while we're at it. We don't really seem to have a aim overall other than just to survive and eat and drink and be merry.
I see. And what of you, Orc?
What of me?
What would bring you other than following your friend to this place?
Truth be told, I'm a little upset that we're here. I have no need to be here. I just followed him to make sure that he wouldn't die.
Well, you will most likely be successful in that endeavor. I have no reason to kill you as long as you don't upset me.
How do we know that you're the real Vol?
She sort of looks at you and says,
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I just think that maybe we're all a little bit thinking that.
No.
Do you think that there are many half-dragon, half-elven liches that live in towers in the frozen north of Lazar?
Well, I've never met a half elf or half dragon personally,
I'm half elf.
but you're not half dragon, and that's what we're talking about. You have to be both.
Well, seeing as I am the only one of my kind, you can be fairly certain that I am indeed.
But I was told that you had armies of undead, and I see no army.
She sort of looks around, and she just sort of raises a hand like this, and just sort of clenches her fist. And behind you, like at the door, you just hear like stones start to move and crack.
I don't need a demonstration. It's okay.
I sort of just get really quiet and like sit back.
She says, never you mind. But you are interesting to me, human child. You have crossed over into death, but have come back in a manner which I am unfamiliar with.
I myself am unfamiliar with it as well.
I see. Perhaps you should stay here and allow my scholars to study you.
Could they tell me what I am?
Perhaps.
Could they fix what I am?
Does it require fixing? It seems to be a preferable form to what you were before.
Well, I haven't really thought about it. I don't really know what I am to say if it's better or not.
I would say that you are as closely related to a white, but also somewhat of a revenant.
Does Genesis know what those things are?
You can give me an Arcana roll if you would like.
13.
You know what a white is. So you know the things that I've told you about a white, like how they feed on the life energy of other things. Usually they're created with like a malevolence, like a human that was angry in life and was like, no, I don't want to die. I will get vengeance on people. Like will come back as whites. But you're not 100% sure what she means by a revenant.
You don't seem very angry.
No, I think I was a very happy person. I loved life. But what is a revenant?
Oh, a soul who desires vengeance on a particular person or a particular group of people.
Probably the people that blew you up.
I did that to myself. It was an accident. I'm not particularly angry or upset with anyone.
Unless a revenant is destroyed in a particular type of ritual, it will continue to come back every dawn after it is killed. I do not know, have you died since you died?
No, there's a question.
Well, no, but sometimes I'm not quite myself, and that can feel a little angry.
Well, you should see what happens if you are to die again. If you come back the next dawn, then I am correct in assuming that you are somewhat of a revenant. Either way, you are reanimated in some form. And something that I would like to know more about. My armies could benefit from soldiers such as yourself. Give me a second, I'm trying to find something. And it's taken forever. Because I might be in the wrong book.
5 ever. 6 ever.
We didn't start at 1.
1 ever.
So basically, is insinuating we have to kill Genesis again.
That's kind of what I got from it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying
Death by flame.
Groundhog Day over here.
Just burn her alive.
Then you kill the last of her humanity, and she comes back evil.
And she has access to fireball.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not.
I mean, to be fair, at this rate, even if she has access to fireball and she's not evil,
Yeah, if
she's
she.
gonna that poor homeless man.
That is true.
Burninates the country.
And that one dog.
Oh my god.
Pretty sure it was multiple dogs.
It just keeps getting worse every retelling. There was like a pack of cute little puppies.
And then what's even worse than that, you know someone from the Calliston Clash came by and ate that dog in person after that.
It's already toasted.
Who just leaves a fine cooked meal out on the ground?
That's true.
Still warm. Should have made her roll to see how well it was cooked.
Oh no.
Terrible.
Mid-rare.
Is that Jimmy?
It's perfect.
He looks delicious.
You're finally good for something, Jimmy.
Just the right amount of bark. This is good.
It's terrible.
And like rip the leg off and start eating it. like a turkey leg.
Boys, come get a taste of Jimmy.
Hell yeah.
Just turned into Gary Busey over there.
All right.
He's gonna get a random scream in there. Ah!
Hell yeah. What the fuck? Poor man though. Well, I mean, not only that, but I mean, you have to imagine that somebody else walked by him and saw like all of it burn.
Listen, I feel bad enough.
I feel bad for killing a fictitious person that was innocent, kind of, maybe.
I really did. I got quiet for so long. I was like, so
It'll teach you to burn random hallways. I walk around the corner and fireball.
couldn't contain the power.
Okay.
Okay. Country.
Well, as you have made your way to my sanctuary, I feel it is only fitting, if you are to leave here, that you give some sort of an offering, some sort of a agreement.
What sort of agreement would you ask of us?
Well, I have several followers who are, how shall we say it, a bit independent at times. I want to leave my tower here and venture out into the wider world. And so sometimes my followers can forget what it is they are supposed to be doing. If I am not mistaken, you came through my portal and wrote. Is that correct?
Well, yes.
And what were you doing in that pitiful old school?
Well, we were,
One of those ugly metal things called again.
We were doors.
No, the other things.
The
Oh.
the Warforged?
yes, thank you.
I was about to say, we have pieces of them. I don't remember what we called them.
Well, you see, Lady Vol, we were doing work. We were chasing down, well, not necessarily chasing anyone down, but
The
we
round
were...
thing with a giant eye and lots of teeth. They have a lot of eyes.
Well, we weren't chasing that down. That
No,
was
but we
just
found him, and
an ancillary thing.
he has a lot of treasure that we could get.
If I may, we were simply trying to find someone who was missing.
Is that so?
Yes.
And why was this person important to you?
Well, she was important to someone else, and that someone was willing to pay us money to find this person.
I see.
I am quite fond of money.
And why were you led to this particular shamble of a building?
We tracked a Warforged there. Actually, a whole band of them. I don't remember their name, though.
It seems they were It seems as though they were interested in the abilities of this particular girl. You see, they were.
She was a changeling.
Yes, she was a changeling, and they were experimenting on her as well as other changelings. And we have actually a vested interest in ensuring that other changelings don't go missing, for reasons I will leave in the air.
It wouldn't have anything to do with your friend here, would it?
Well, it seems you're very observant, lady.
I am 2,600 years old, my son.
This is true.
And you don't look at a day over 50.
Flattery will get you nowhere, my dear, but thank you.
No older than 1,500.
She says, well, if you were indeed trying to rescue some changelings, then the suspicions that I have heard and news that has been brought to me is perhaps true, and one of my lesser lieutenants has forgotten who he serves and what his purpose is.
Do you think that he now serves the Lord of Blades?
Oh, I doubt he openly serves anyone else, but the longer my thralls are away from me, they have a tendency to become more thoughtful. They forget what they have been ordered to do. They forget that finding the mark of my family is the only thing that matters. And they get tied up in their petty little squabbles and their own little researches and concerns. And it would seem that Tragram has indeed been messing around with these Warforged in House Cannith again. It was why I killed him in the first place.
I see.
He sought out my power. I'm benevolent in that respect. I gave him a bit of power. And what did he do? He squandered my gifts. He did not look for the people who killed my ancestors. He did not look for the remaining mark of death that could still be alive in this world. No, he messed with these constructs, these creations of House Cannith. What are they? They are not alive. They cannot die. They do not have souls. What are they? Machines.
But they think, they feel.
They
think
made
poorly.
of wood and stone. They are not real. They are not like you. They are not like I was and am now. They are not like the rest of you. But Tragram forgot that his talents were to find my mark. And so, to remind him of that, I took his life and raised him again, to where he could not disobey me. His sole purpose, to find the mark of death, to find my family and bring them back. But it seems my power wanes when he is away from me, and he has gone back to his old ways. So, I believe a fair trade, a fair deal, would be for you to deal with him for me. It seems that was your goal already.
By any means.
You will have a hard time killing him, but I do not mind if that is what you do. He is a fairly powerful warlock. But I think the four of you might be able to do something about him.
What will you do when you find the mark of death?
What do I do?
I thought it was eradicated a long time ago. I don't remember. Seth doesn't remember.
2,600 years ago.
There you go.
If I find a living version of my mark, then I will bring my family back to the prominence. There will be 13 again, as there were originally. And then I will use the power of my mark to destroy the Undying Court. Those elves of Eranal who think they are so superior. And then My legions will march. Redact that. My legions will sail to Arganesson. Actually, no, don't march. Fuck it, they're undead.
Yeah, they're just
I was
going
thinking like
ocean floor.
Pirates of
Fuck
the
it.
Caribbean
Yeah.
under the water.
My legions will march on the dragons of Arganesson.
You have dragons?
Yes.
Do they breathe fire?
No, Genesis.
No, but I've never seen one in
Yeah,
real
you
life.
didn't-
And I'm just
Yes, the red ones do breathe fire.
Please don't tell her
Do we know this is a real place?
Yeah, and Arganesson is on a map.
But do we know it has dragons in it? I thought
Yeah.
they were all dead.
No, not dragons. They just don't. They don't leave Arganesson. Yeah, like it's pretty known that like dragons inhabit, like Arganesson is the island of the dragons, and like they're like the dragons are like super intelligent, like wizards and things like that, and they have these giant observatories that they, watch the cosmos with. They're super haughty. They're very much like chromat dragons that you would see in regular D&D, but probably worse. Like they're not evil; they're just stuck up. They're dragons. Like if you were a dragon, wouldn't you be stuck up?
No.
Question, my lady. Would you turn your legions on the people of Corvair?
I have no reason. Once I have found what I need, my knightly orders, the Order of the Emerald Claw, my priestly orders, the Blood of Vol, they do not bear ill will towards the people of Corvair. The people of Corvair have never wronged me, other than inhibiting my search. Once I have found what I am looking for, and I am able to take vengeance, then I will leave my people to worship as they see fit. The Blood of Vol does not encourage slaughter or murder. It simply views undeath as a paradigm. Whereas some religions see moving on to another plane, an Elysium, if you will. My teachings believe that the eternity of undeath is the pinnacle. It is where you want to go when you die.
We ran across one of your order in Shar who had paid a were-rat to kill many people. Do you know why they would do that?
Many of those who wear the Emerald Claw do not know what they actually serve. They feel as though they are the same knightly order of Karnath that they were before the war. But they are not anymore. The true insiders of the order know that they serve me and me alone, and that the mission is to find the mark.
Well, we were already on our way to kill the Warforged. I don't see why we couldn't continue on that.
Yes. I will need to keep an eye on you, though. Do remember, those in my service who stray from my directives will be dealt with. Will one of you be willing to take the blood and serve me?
Can I see a dragon at some point? Not smile.
Mouth agape a little.
She says, when we march on their homeland, I hope that you will be sufficiently strong enough to lead my armies. Right now, you are but soldiers, corporals. I need generals, admirals, commanders. I will leave you to your own devices mostly, but when I call for you, you will come, or you will join my countless legions in undeath. And you will not be a leader of a great army, but a cog in a massive machine. Do as I say. Follow my directives when I give them. Do not stray from the path. Help me find the mark. Help me claim my vengeance. And you will be the greatest generals that Eberron has ever known, leading the greatest army that Eberron has ever known. The squabbles of the Five Nations are but nothing compared to the eradication of the Undying Court and those observers in their towers.
If I were to swear allegiance to you, would you swear to me that you wouldn't use us as weapons against the innocent?
I will swear that to you, but you do not get to determine who is innocent, elf. I determine who is innocent and who is
Villagers
guilty.
and farmers and children?
Villagers and farmers and children that serve the observers, the dragons, they will be slaughtered for their idiocy. Villagers who serve the Undying Court and speak to their rotting, decaying gods on Eranol, they will be slaughtered for the crimes of their ancestors. I will see them all wiped from the face of this planet. Those who had no hand in the eradication of my family, they will live. They will live of their own free will and accord. I will not mess with them. My family had the potential to be great, just like yours and yours. But a handful of haughty dragons and close-minded, nearsighted elves thought that I was an abomination. And so they slaughtered my family. And in an act of desperation, my mother used the power of her mark to turn me into a lich so that I would not die. She loved me so much, she didn't want me to perish. And this was the way that she could preserve me. But when I died, so did my mark. I do not have the power of it. My power over necromancy is just wizardry at this point. But to control the mark, that is the ultimate goal. Those who took that legacy from my family, those who stopped what would be a new bloodline, a new species on this planet, them and their ancestors must pay in blood for the crime that they committed against my people. You, Sir Elf, are a smart one. You have no tent of the Undying Court on you. You haven't made your way back to that God's forsaken land. You are not an idiot. You will not be one who is killed. Those who have done the same as you will not be killed. Those who continue to worship those undying pieces of filth, they will be punished.
Well, I'm not as angry at them as you are, but I must be honest, you are correct when you say I'm smart, and I know that if I don't swear allegiance to you, I will not leave here alive. What say you, Oligar? What say you, Riven? What say you, Genesis?
I want to see a dragon. And also, I think that I want to have the freedom to continue my work. And I think if I get that, then I will lead your army. Aspire to lead your army, that is. But I want to finish my work.
We will not just be seeing dragons as if though you were at the zoo. We will be slaughtering them, eradicating their kind from this world.
But they are beautiful creatures. We
They
could learn from them.
are not beautiful creatures.
Perhaps I could study one at the very least, and then I could replicate its essence to create a better weapon. I could do that at least.
If my vengeance is slated, perhaps I will let you have a pet.
A pet dragon.
Oh no.
I could do that. I could have a pet dragon.
But know this, the green ones, Not a single one will survive.
She likes
I
fire
I
anyway.
only like the red ones.
Very well.
Just check out my pants. Look at my vest.
I wish to make fire as hot as they make fire.
So when you get this death mark, how are you gonna bring back your family? Are they gonna be not zombies, but like people, or like how is that going to work?
No, the idea will be to find a living fragment of the mark so that it can be rebranded onto new children when they are born. So that it can be passed down through the family just as the orcs has been and this else has been. The Mark of Death was one of the 13 dragon marks, you see. It died out when my family was killed. There was no one to carry it on. It does not exist in the blood of Eberron anymore. But there have been signs that its fragment exists somewhere. When the Great War, the last war, started, Karnath was nearly eradicated in the first days. They turned to me and my necromancy to bring their warriors back. And in the spark of what I was able to do, there was something beyond just my command of wizardry and my command of necromancy. There was the necromantic spark of the mark. And that is what I have been searching for the last 100 years. And that is what I will find. And that is what you will help me find.
So are you able to bring people back from the dead, but not like zombie dead, but like with conscious?
You have not encountered the Karnathi undead, have you? No, you haven't.
Yeah,
Thank you for telling us that, Vol.
You will see.
Newsflash, you did.
You will see the level of consciousness that they have. They are not fully sentient, but they are not mindless, shambling skeletons and zombies. They are created for a reason. They are created to be line soldiers. But if it were needed, and I have done it on occasion, in fact, you may not be aware, but King Caius of Karnath, he is no longer one of the living, and has not been for some time.
do I know who that is?
It's a king of Karnath.
You probably heard of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
King Caius.
Okay.
She says, through particular necromantic arts, I was able to bring him back. And he runs his country now. He is completely sentient. He knows what he is doing. He makes his decisions. Occasionally he makes poor ones, and I have to leave my tower to remind him.
Would she automatically know like our secrets? I mean, would she have an idea?
You don't know. How would you know that? She knew that you were a changeling.
Yeah, I mean, like she knew. So I mean, I'm assuming that she has some kind of like.
Can you control what I am?
She sort of looks at you. What do you mean?
If you have power over the undead, then you should be able to control me if I am undead. Or some part like. And the reason I ask is because Karnath wants me to make more like myself.
Do they?
I haven't decided what to do yet. Nor do I know how to make more at this point.
I see. Perhaps I have some measure of control over you. And her eyes kind of glaze over. Give me be a charisma saving throw. Wait, no, it's a wisdom save. Sorry.
I hope she doesn't start blabbering again.
Oh, that
That was a
sucks.
D12.
That is a D12.
Oh, my bad. Well, that's why that sucked.
17.
17. You feel like something worm its way into your mind, and you stand up from the table and like walk over to the door.
Where are you going, Genesis?
Am I like aware enough to know?
But you know exactly what's happening, but you have literally no control over your body right now.
I don't know.
No, you can't talk.
Oh, okay.
She just walks you back over and sits you back down at the table. She says, "It is somewhat difficult, but you are, as I said, unlike anything I have ever seen before."
She is rather strong-willed.
That's one word.
Stubborn
just
is
like
there.
slowly take out this little book and I'm like,
She says, "I would not want to directly control you for very long, though. Your thoughts invade my mind as well."
That is interesting.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So then you would not want an army of whatever it is that I am.
I would not mind an army of what you are. See, the thing about an army is you give them an order and they follow it. You do not have to control their minds. You simply have a captain who tells them to march, to kill, to retreat, and they do it. That's how armies work.
If she had an army,
I
there'd
do
probably
not.
be like a lot of them wanting a lot of pet dragons.
I do not control the armies of Karnath directly. I would only be able to control one or two at a time anyway. But I can give Caius an order, and he will follow it because he is a loyal servant.
That makes sense.
But back to our deal. The destruction of one Tregram Hatir in exchange for leaving this place, mostly unscathed.
Can you get rid of those centipedes though? On our way back at least?
They will not be a concern upon your return.
You did mention that Tregram is quite powerful, and while I feel as though, as you do, that we are well capable of extinguishing his flame, perhaps it would be helpful if you could give us some sort of boon.
There is a ceremony you will undertake if you are to pledge yourself to me, young Gendrix. That will be boon enough.
I see.
What does the ceremony consist of?
You'll see.
You're being very quiet.
Well,
I mean, you can hear his stomach rumbling, so I mean...
it has been a while,
It's been 30 minutes since he ate.
at least.
My kind does not sit well with him, I can tell.
I will do this job for you, but I can't serve you.
I do not need all of you. One will suffice.
It's either me or you.
I already said I would do it. I can get a pet.
What does taking the blood of Vol entail?
That will require a bit of trust on your part, my dear. We cannot always know everything. Sometimes we must take a chance.
I will do it.
Well,
Me too.
I only need one, but if you wish, you may.
Well, you're gonna have all three, I guess.
And what of you, Orc? Will you be able to work with these that have pledged themselves to my service?
So far, we have all been in a line. If that changes, then we will go our separate ways. But I don't see it changing, at least for a while. We have the same goal now.
Very well. You will-
Elvenor, Vol. I don't see much of a difference.
Oh, there is a slight difference.
One's a dragon.
Well, my lady,
half
I
dragon.
see the obvious difference, and I know the differences, but what I mean by that is I believe Elvenor would slit my throat if I displeased her, and I believe that you would turn me into dust if I displeased you. One master for another, so long as I can still kind of do my own thing.
No, I believe your soul would be a very entertaining puppet. I would not turn you to dust. Not immediately.
Well, that's much appreciated.
You will serve me eventually, Orc, so that you know.
I'm sure you'll still be around when I'm ripe, old, and dead. Perhaps you can have me then.
You will be a great warrior for me. I can foresee it.
How long do orcs live? I'm like in my 40s. Have another 80 years at least.
She says, all right, so just who's going to take a level in Warlock? I know that you're not right
Well,
now.
not this go around.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, then you're not going to do it right now then.
I will.
So
But I'll
you're,
just go ahead and let her know.
so you're both taking a level in Warlock.
See.
Okay. All right, so she stands up from the table, sort of just floats up the stairs to the second level. And as she floats away, she says, please follow me.
I follow.
She sort of goes. She goes up several, probably up to the fifth level of the tower, and there's a large ritual circle that is quite obviously drawn in blood. It looks like it's been there for a long time, but the blood looks extremely fresh.
Would I follow too? Or
Yeah. She wants all of you to come.
okay.
I would have been sitting there and just watching everybody go up the stairs.
Yeah. No, she looks back and says, "Everyone, please. You must know what they are going through."
Very well.
So she takes you upstairs. She says, if you will, please, all of your metal belongings, set them aside and step into the circle.
Start pulling out pistols and daggers and shit.
I have to take off my trench coat. I don't really want to.
All of your metal belongings, my dear.
Do you have anything metal in your trench coat?
I would assume I have like a bunch of crap in there.
Well, I mean, like metal alloys and stuff, or like
Maybe.
or potions and stuff. So yeah, she would have to have something like that.
Yeah. I'll just I'll take off like the entire trench coat and like put it like as close to me as humanly possible.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm doing it just yet, and we'll
No,
see
no,
what
no,
my
if you're-
next level-
No, if you're not taking a level in Warlock, you wouldn't do it right now.
These little bony skeleton arms sticking out.
But so she sort of looks at the two of you and says, if you would please stand back against the wall.
I hope the room's not gonna start spinning.
Yeah, I'll stand back.
Okay. She sort of motions to the two of you to stand in the circle. She stands sort of at the top of the circle where there's like some elaborate scroll work and things. You can see there's all kinds of runes and whatnot written in blood on the floor. And she begins to chant in a tongue that you don't recognize. And what you two see is the stones of the tower sort of start to explode outwards. And the room doesn't really begin to spin per se, but you're no longer in a tower. You're like just in empty space. And there's this stone plinth that you're all standing on, and the walls have sort of exploded out, and there's just all this free floating rock around you. You two, you see that, but it's less important than what begins to happen as that happens to you. Your bodies take on like a rictus. Ah, oh no, I knocked over the painting. That's what I get for
You just ricked us that painting.
yeah, right. Yeah, but you like you kind of get like in the like A pose. Your head sort of flies back. Your legs and your arms and all your joints sort of lock. Your mouth opens, and the blood that's in the ritual circle begins to writhe, and it sort of comes up and it shoots up and just starts going down your throat.
Inverse exorcist.
Yeah. And you're just sort of in this like they look like they're in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt that bad. But the one thing that is sort of new, especially for you, Gendrix, is it's not going into your stomach. It's going into your lungs. And you begin to
Choke me, Dan.
feel the pain of drowning, and you sort of feel the pain of drowning, but it's different because you don't have to breathe.
Am I becoming undead?
And eventually, she continues to chant, and eventually your bodies both fall to the ground. The room coalesces back together, and you can see that they're breathing. They're alive. She sort of floats back down to the ground and lands, and looks at the two of you and says, "They will need a moment." And then she just continues. She just walks away, up the stairs. So you two guys are conscious, standing against the wall.
Is
I
the
guess we're
circle,
gonna try to pick up one of. I'll pick up the bag of bones and you pick up him.
is the circle still there, or is it?
Yeah, but now it looks like old dried blood.
Are you okay?
No, you guys are unconscious.
Oh, we were unconscious. Never
You
mind.
are currently on 0 hit points, but you are not dying.
Okay.
Okay, I guess we'll pick up the bag of bones. I don't know how this is gonna work.
And she steps in the circle like nothing happens.
Yeah.
I will grab Gendrix's foot
Okay.
as stepping into the circle as least as possible.
Okay.
And then I will drag him out of the circle.
Okay.
And that's it.
My hands are
Yeah.
dragging by. And my other leg is sticking off to the
Yeah,
side.
they're just both limp.
And I'll just make sure that he's breathing. And I'll make sure, I don't even know if she breathes, but I'll just make sure she's breathing.
Okay.
I mean, she looks fine, I assume that this is kind of what she looks like when she's sleeping.
I don't think I've ever seen her sleep.
I mean, I said I think she looks fine. I'm not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
Genesis?
I don't think I have
Anybody
any
in
Band-Aids
there?
left. Let's see if I have a Band-Aid.
Yeah, she's gone.
You did notice that as you were ascending the tower, on the 3rd level, there were a couple of looked like monk cells or penitent cells or something like that.
What
So
are those?
are we gonna drag them down
Like
the
rooms.
stairs and their head is gonna
Huh?
hit
Like
every single
rooms.
step?
Oh. Probably. I mean, I'll carry them down the stairs.
They could be
I just-
jail cells. You're not really sure.
I just didn't want to step into the.
I don't know how we're gonna carry them, but we're
Circle.
gonna carry them down the stairs.
Should have Sir Gilliam carry one of
Can I
those.
see if they're not? I can make sure they're not dying, right?
Yeah.
Does that require a roll, or is that pretty obvious?
No, I mean you can tell that they're breathing.
Okay.
They're not. Yeah.
I think they're fine. We just need to take them somewhere. Don't know where.
I think there were some rooms down the stairs. Will you grab her coat? And I'll sling
And I very carefully
Gendrix over my shoulder,
walk over to the coat.
and then I'll sack of potatoes her,
Okay.
and then I'll walk down the stairs.
I very carefully go to her coat and
Do you get all the gear?
yeah, I get all the
Okay.
gear, but I just had to.
Okay.
I don't hear any kind of weird noises coming from it, do I? Cool.
The fucking rabbit falls out of it, runs away.
A couple of doves just fly out of it. A little bit of cards.
Genesis
Couple
magic?
flowers.
Yeah.
You're a wizard, Genesis.
All right. So you're heading downstairs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you get down there, and you can see that there's 6 doors around what appears to be the outside of the tower.
I will gingerly kick one open.
Okay. Yeah, it just opens up into a room. There's a straw mattress on the floor.
I will lay them as evenly as I can, both on the same one.
Okay.
So it's how far down the stairs is it?
It's 2 stories, 2 floors down.
Okay. So meanwhile, I'm back in the room trying to handle all of this because I didn't realize how many knives and daggers
Guns.
Gendrix has. So you hear me coming down the stairs and you hear it clink, 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 clink. Because there's just daggers literally just falling down the stairs. And I'm trying to pick it up, but as I go to pick it up, I drop some more down. So I'm just constantly.
It's like the laundry. Just all these socks. Just
My
won't stay in
gun's
my
definitely screwed now.
I did not realize
Good
how many
thing-
daggers he had.
Good thing I took a level in Warlock and I really don't need it anymore.
I'll after laying them down, I'll come out and just see her coming down the stairs. then I'll just start picking it up like, did you at least get her coat without dropping it?
I think we're good.
I don't
You
want
think I
that.
should just lay it on her? Do you think that'll make her come back too?
It might help.
Okay, I'm
At
just
least
gonna
she
walk
won't
over
freak
there
out
and I'm
when
gonna
she
like
wakes
very
up.
gently put the.
And they're like laying on the floor with their heads on the straw only. It's just like,
Okay,
comfort
sounds-
only for your heads.
that sounds good.
But
Okay.
does Genesis still have her top hat on? Does she have like a chin strap that keeps it on?
It's like wedged on her head. It's not coming off.
It's just
Is
like
it-
stuck to
It's
her
not like a
head.
top hat. What was it that we got? I just
I'm pretty sure it was a top hat. Like I feel
I
like
don't
you,
remember what kind of hat it was.
some kind of hat that is like the only decent thing of clothing that I have. It's got like feathers and stuff in it now.
I don't remember.
yeah, she just has a chin strap.
She's got a little bonnet. I do declare that I love some fire.
Y'all are screwed if I wake up hungry. I'm just
All right.
saying.
So, what do you guys do after you put them down?
I'm gonna close the door and hang out.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
There's like 5 other rooms.
Yeah, but those aren't my rooms.
Okay.
I don't know anything about them.
I don't know if you know this, but there's a lich hanging around this place.
She seems rather pleasant.
I'm
Well, I'm gonna go and I guess open all the rooms because then I'm gonna find a place for me to chill and take a nap.
well, my
Okay.
level of distrust just went way through the roof when you inhaled blood. So
Okay. That's fair.
That is fair.
Yeah, so are you like going to sleep?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I'm not. As
So you're
much
just
as
like
I
sitting
can
outside
help
their door?
it. I'm in the room. Just have
Oh,
the
you're
door
in there?
closed. Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
sitting on the
All
floor.
right. Okay.
Because I used all my spell slots. And
Okay.
I need to take a rest.
Okay. So yeah. So you guys, as soon as you collapse, everything goes black, and
You had to.
you're not sure how long, but you wake. You're not together. You're alone, but you're each in this having this same experience, just not together. You awake in an ancient elven cathedral, and you see there's sort of like a dais at the front of the room. You're sort of like stood on the outside of this group of people, and you hear a noise, and you hear a baby crying, and you can see that there's maybe 6 or 7 elves stood around this dais. And you kind of look over and you see that there's a baby in like a cradle or bassinet or something that's on top of the dais, and it's its head sticking out of like a bundle of clothing, but it's this little like baby looking dragon. And you hear this noise again, and it sounds like something like stone scraping across stone, and you realize after a little bit that you're not actually in a building, but you are under the wing of a massive dragon, and its wing is creating what looks like this temple. And you realize this because the head pokes through at one point and looks in and breathes on the child, and you see this like green cloud breathe over the child, and you see the elves cover their faces, but then you hear this deep resonating voice. Make sure I get this right. It says, "We have done what we thought impossible. Our 2 races, the greatest on Eberron, have been combined. Apart, we were great, but together, we will solve the problems of this world. We will end the madness that plagues the people of this planet. And we will destroy the usurper Kyber. This child..." I don't know where to go.
Which dragon is this?
It's a big green dragon.
But I wouldn't recognize which dragon it is.
It is not one of the three. No.
Okay.
None of the three are green.
Oh, okay.
Just for your reference, Kyber is black. Eberron is, but not a black dragon with acid, but his scales are black.
Okay.
Eberron was like blue stone type looking, and Cybers was gold.
And Kyber is the underworld.
Yeah, Kyber's the bad one.
Okay.
But he says, this child, which bears the mark of my power, you will name her Erandis, and she will take your surname to Vol, and she will bear the mark of our people forever. Your mark that manifested thousands of years ago, and now sealed with the breath of a dragon. You will be the first family. The mark of death will control what happens to those who die upon Eberron forevermore. No longer must mankind and dragonkind and elvenkind fear death, but they shall see death as a continuation, as a simple changing of the guard in their lives. We have wrought this day in this child. When she is of age, we will bring her before our peoples, and we will show them what we have done, and show them the bright future that exists for dragon and elf and man. And when they see our great work, they will rejoice. And the image fades, and you sort of come through a series of images of this dragon, this dragonborn child growing up. And it sort of is like kaleidoscope through a lot of scenes, and eventually it lands in another scene where you're watching and you see what appears to be early 20s, like fully matured dragonborn, for a dragonborn, very handsome, I suppose. But you see this elven woman who is, showing the signs of age, which is odd for elves. So she's pretty old. And she says, my dear Erandis, today is the day you look beautiful. We will show you to everyone. They will know the work that we did, myself and your father. They will know the magic that we brought to Corvair, that we brought to Eberron, that we brought to our peoples, that we will save the world with this magic. And you can tell the girl she's happy. She doesn't say anything, but she just, she's in a mirror and looks. There's attendants that are getting her ready. And then the scene shifts again through this, kind of hazy thing. And it shifts to a council of 5 dragons, the 5 chromatic colored dragons. And there's a green, and it's a different green. You can tell his facial features are somewhat different. And he says, what have you done? We will not stand for this abomination. And you see the 5 dragons of the council sort of rear up, and they just start murdering all of these elves that have brought this person. And in a moment of desperation, you see the woman that was with Erandis in the previous vision. She reaches out, and you see on her forearm, she has a dragon mark that you've never seen before, but it glows like white hot. And you just see a bolt of energy shoot from it, and there's a blue dragon that just disintegrates. And you see her collapse to the ground. And then you see another woman that you haven't seen before. She looks like an older version of one of the women that you saw in the original scene. And she has this same dragon mark coming up, her chest and around her neck and onto her head. You see that it glows, and she grabs the dragonborn girl, and in an instant, you see her flesh desiccate, and you see her turn into a lich. And you hear the woman that did that says, she pulls a necklace off and presses it into the Lich's hand, and she says, "Take my soul. You will need it to survive, my darling." And you see the Dragonborn, now very much undead, look at her like with a look of horror, and she just looks at her and says, "You must." And she takes the necklace and just jams it against the woman. You see this necrotic energy just fill into the necklace, and you see her just flee. And elves, and eventually the small cadre of elves are murdered by a group of elves and dragons, and then you wake up. When you wake up, give me a Constitution saving throw.
Me?
Yeah.
Mom gave that Lich a phylactery.
Liches love phylacteries.
11.
11.
Oh, wait. That's just my constitution. Wait. 13.
You wake up and you see that Oligar is sat against the wall and he's asleep. You're not sure how long it's been, but you look at each other and you both look like you have been just eating raw meat. There's like you have vomited blood everywhere. It's all running down your faces. It's all over your clothes that you're still wearing. You both have a point in Warlock now.
Yay!
Your patron is the Undying. It's Vol. And I need both of you to roll a d6.
Okay. 4.
2.
Okay. You, Genesis, gain the flaw, I assume the worst in people.
You need that in real life.
And Gendrix, what'd you roll?
It's not a flaw.
4.
Okay. You gain the flaw, I talk to spirits that no one else can see.
Oh no.
Good Lord.
Do I wake
Who
up?
are you?
Do I hear them talking in the room? Because I imagine I would have been knocked
No, it's a
out.
pretty heavy door.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those ugly metal things.
Would I have had a long rest by now?
Yep, everyone got a long rest.
Well, I'm going to go and I guess look for them. in
But
the
like
room.
you're probably still asleep with Oligar at this
I
point.
am?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, neither of you have woken up.
Do I wake up still hungry from being in the caves and all that, or the dungeon, or do I wake up like?
No,
completely fine?
you're not hungry right now.
Okay.
No.
I need to just like inhale.
That's what I was wondering. I
loads
was
of
like,
blood.
it went in my lungs or my tummy. Wait, how does that work?
Maybe someone down the wrong path.
Covered in blood. Just hush.
You just prestidigitate off all the blood.
Yeah, just clean up.
We remember why we have blood all over us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty obvious. Yeah, you remember the dream pretty vividly.
So, out of curiosity, has this changed Gendrix's appearance in any way?
The only thing about you that's a little different is
You're paler.
you look a little. You're
That's
just a
hard to
little
do.
more less dandy and more edgelord.
Okay.
You probably have like slightly more sunken cheeks.
Just a little
Slightly
mascara.
Yeah. You definitely got some heavy eyeshadow.
So it's like Star Wars Online, where you've made a few bad decisions, but not too
Right.
many.
I forgot about that.
But yeah. I mean, you basically just have like, you just look. You're a little more of an edgelord.
Okay. I can live with that.
Or
am
you're,
I-
I mean,
or
you're
can
the
I-
same way, but it's hard to tell.
I was like, I just
You're
sort
already-
of fit in more
You're
now.
already pretty edgelord.
Your cheeks are more sunken.
Can I live with that, or can I undie with that?
Can you live with that, or can you undie?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I'm undead now.
You don't know.
Yeah, fuck. Okay. Are you okay?
I think so.
Shut up. I know. Stop.
You do. I think you already have this, but you now have resistance to necrotic damage.
Oh, we both do?
Yeah, I think she already had it though.
Okay.
I'm disease. Resistance to disease. Is that the same thing?
You should be immune to disease.
Immune.
There's an I for immune, and then there's
Yeah, I think you have resistance to necrotic, and you're vulnerable to radiant.
Bright light.
But you're not resistant to necrotic.
in the big
Awesome.
city.
That's half.
Yep.
Okay. Where? Do you know where we are?
No. And I like immediately start, and then I feel the trench coat, and I'm like, oh.
In our dreams,
I
and
had
like
a
I told
weird
you that was gonna
dream. It was about how, I think it was about Vol, maybe?
I had a dream as well. It was very strange.
What happened in your dream?
Well, there was a young Erandis of House de Vol. It was about Vol.
And there was a large green dragon,
Yes.
and then
And then there were other dragons.
who killed her.
What they tried to.
Well, it depends on, yes, I see. It depends on your idea of how that happens, but yes, I think we saw the same thing.
I think technically her mother killed her.
Yes.
Out of love?
I believe so, yes. Or necessity, really.
What have we done?
Well, that's perspective, and I think that I've made a friend, and I'll be able to continue my work now.
No, you cannot be her friend.
Who are you talking to?
You don't see this.
Empty sort of space there that you're talking to? No. I see space.
Stop laughing.
I think we should find the others.
And I'm just gonna like turn
I
around
mean,
and walk off.
He's like sitting.
Yeah,
Oh.
like right
He's
there.
asleep.
Let's find the others.
Oh, he's right. He's actually right here. I'm gonna go see what he's doing.
And I'm just gonna like walk over there.
And you wake up to her in your bed. Holy God! She's riding days like this close.
Subject still breathing.
I just kind of go over there and like very loudly shift around, like putting my trench coat back on.
Tinkle tinkle.
he does not pick up.
Little deep sleeper.
I sort of take my foot and like squeak it on the ground really hard next to him. And then
You're gonna have to open and shut the door.
Breakfast is ready.
I sort of take my foot and like shove him really hard in the chest.
Okay.
Nothing.
I think maybe Oligar is something's wrong with him.
And I sort of
Oligar?
like his face a little bit.
Oligar, there's disgusting cooked food. Wake up.
God, if that doesn't do it, nothing's gonna work.
You're in a different room, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The fun part is fine to me because I imagine it wasn't there like multiple rooms.
There were 6 rooms.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all like right next to each, like in a circle.
I'm gonna get really close and like investigate Oligar.
Okay.
Like
Probably needs to trim his nose hair.
that's a really good investigation check. 25.
Okay. Yeah. He's older. He's a half orc.
He's Oligar, half
He's
orc.
alive. He's breathing. He's
Can
asleep.
I do like a medicine check?
Sure.
See if he's okay?
Plot twist, they're doing all
See what's
this
wrong
and
with
you're
him?
just a heavy sleeper.
17.
He seems okay. He's breathing.
No, he's not dead.
Really, who are you talking to?
You don't see this. Stop laughing.
Great, now we got a whole party of crazies.
What have I
You know
done?
how sometimes you guys look at me a little funny, and I feel a little awkward and out of place? I think I'm probably looking at you like that right now.
No, it is not funny. I think that we should try to wake up Oligar.
Where'd you get my health out? Nope. I foresee this going very poorly. Did I get a long rest?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are the chances of having smelling salt in my trench coat?
I'm sure you have some smelly
Is it
salt
on-
in
is it
there,
on
but
your
I don't know if
character
it's smelling salt.
Probably not. Let's roll to see what's in there.
I will. I guess I'll look around and see what is around in the room that maybe I can.
Pretty basic.
Just pretty basic
It's a
stuff.
straw mattress and like flagstones.
Some Uggs in the corner and a pumpkin spice latte.
Meanwhile, in another
Super
room,
basic.
I have both of my puppets, and I'm like,
I think we should try to find Ribbon.
I agree. I don't know that I want to leave him alone here, though.
I'll go. And I just like turn around and I walk out of the room.
Okay. When you open the door, you see coming down the stairs is Vol. She walks past you and says, it is completed. Please join me downstairs. There are some things you need to know.
What about our friends?
They're fine. They are simply doing what is required. Sleeping.
Okay. I'll just start following her.
are we like so deep in sleep that we're not having like dreams, or am I having like vivid dreams? Can I have like a vivid dream?
You having basic dreams?
Heck yeah.
Nothing special?
You're having a dream where
About like a field?
Yeah, and I'm on like
Some corn.
an animal.
Or like a giant mushroom.
I was gonna say your puppet is controlling you. Like,
It's reversed.
That'd be a hell
Yeah,
of a
and
dream.
we're having a dance party because you know.
And she just continues to walk down. the stairs.
lettuce party.
I'll follow her.
I'm probably just dreaming about a puppet,
She's-
to be fair.
Tell your friend to join, please.
Okay. And how far away am I from the door?
Like you like just opened the door.
Okay. I'll just turn around and be like, she said she wants us to follow her. And I'll like
All the class in the world.
I'll pat Oligar on the shoulder and be like, "Sleep tight, buddy," and I walk down the stairs. I guess.
You make your way downstairs. She's sitting at the table again. She gestures to 2 chairs.
Go have a seat.
Says,
There isn't a chair for you.
she says, you have
Just leave in the most conspicuous.
Great, well you go back to this, guys.
yeah, great game back. She says, you have seen what happened to my people. You now understand the vengeance that I require.
What did the dragons see in you that threatened them so?
As I said, they are close-minded. They are purists. They did not see the beauty that my father and my mothers wrought. They did not understand. And so, as many do, they attempted to destroy that which they could not comprehend.
I see. I'm
But
seeing things now, by the way. Thanks for that.
that is unfortunate. It will fade as you give yourself to the blood. As I said, you will have a compulsion to do what I ask. But when you are away from me, that compulsion will die. It will dwindle. You must keep it alive. It must not be the magic which compels you. It must be your own desire. Or else you will slip as poor Tragram has, and you will no longer serve me, and I will have to find someone else.
see.
I have tried to bring poor Tragrim back to the path, but he is too strong-willed to understand. And that is why you are my new lieutenants that will deal with him.
And after that, what then?
You will have your own desires for a time. As I said, you are currently too weak and pathetic to do what I need of you.
Thanks.
But you have the potential to grow and become mighty. I will leave you to your own devices to figure out how best to do that.
We are on the never-ending search for the Mark of Death.
That is correct. Should you come across its existence, should you hear of an artifact of Eranol or of Arganesson, you will seek it out. And you will bring it to me so that I may study.
The schema that I have, I know that the Lord of Blades was after it, but is it one of the names that she just mentioned?
What do you mean?
Is it an artifact?
Oh, yeah, it's an artifact, yeah.
What is it, the Arganessi one or the?
Oh, is it Arganesson or Aaron? No, it's like obviously of House Cannith make.
Okay.
Or something. It's definitely not Elven or Dragon for sure. It's ancient, that's for sure. Like it's pre. God, what's it called? Pre-War of the Mark.
Okay.
Pre-war money.
So you have no desire to see the rise of the Warforged, to see them take their vengeance on the living.
No. As I said, I believe they are nothing more than machines, soulless automata, given some sort of sentience.
Well, seeing as how you are my new master, and I do not wish to see the Lord of Blades, I do not wish to see his plans come to fruition. I think that this may be safest in your hands. And I will pull out the schema and give it to her.
She sort of takes it out and looks at it for a while. She says, I do not know what this would be a part of, but I believe if there are Warforged looking for it, that perhaps it is part of the Creation Forge schema. Are you familiar with how the Warforged were created?
Somewhat.
The Treaty of Thronehold banned and called for the destruction of all of the Creation Forges so that no more Warforged could be made. A careless oversight, seeing as I can continue to make undead for Karnath. But mortals were always somewhat short-sighted, weren't they? But should someone rebuild this schema, they would be able to make a Creation Forge perhaps on a scale no one has ever seen before. So yes, perhaps this is safest with me, but perhaps you should continue to find parts of it, for putting the schema together may tell you how to eradicate even the knowledge of the Creation Forge. That is the interesting part of these schema, which the tinkerers of House Cannith pine for. Not only do they tell you how to make things, they tell you how to permanently unmake them as well, if you know how to read them properly.
I see.
It is an interesting thing. There is always a balance. You can't just create and make without destroying as well.
It makes sense.
as I said, once you have dealt with Tragram, I will leave you to your own devices for a time. However, you both bear my mark now, and should I have need of you, it will call you to me. If I call, do not tarry. Come to me with all haste.
Are there ways for us to reach you other than traveling to Rote?
There are other portals that will bring you to this place. If you must know where we are in the very northern reaches of the Lazar Principalities. That is where my tower is located.
Ah, I see. So we still are on Everon. That is wonderful news.
When you leave this place, you will know the direction of my tower because of the mark I have given you. So should you need to use mundane conveyance, such as an airship or a boat, you can guide directly to this island and find me. Do either of you understand teleportation magic?
Do I know that?
Do you know the spell teleport or teleportation circle?
No, I'm
And
afraid
it was
not.
like, do we understand it, or is that something I can learn at some point?
I think you can learn teleport or teleportation circle. It's like a 5th level spell, so like level 9. It'll be a while. But she says, you may study my teleportation circle and learn its sigil, but if you do not know the spell, it will not be much use to you. If you are able to learn the spell or find a scroll, though, then the sigil will bring you here. So I would suggest spending some time to sketch it out in your book before you leave.
I can do that.
Aside from the portal in Rote, there are also several operatives of mine that can send you here through their own teleportation circles that they have inscribed. One is in Karth. There is one in Sharn. Where else is there one?
She's well traveled.
There is a gnome in Zilargo as well.
You know gnomes in Solargo.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to make it to one of those cities, they will be able to use, you can use their teleportation circles. They are members of the Order as well. They serve me faithfully.
Question. Should we find others who bear the mark of the Emerald Claw but have lost their way, should we remind them of what their mission is, or shall we extinguish their flame?
It would do well to remind them, although many of those who are of the militant end of the Order, they do not forget their mission. It is the more unaligned, shall we say, that forget their way.
I see.
Do you want us to openly carry your mark?
That is for you to determine. If you wish to wear clothing, tabards, and things of that sort, then you may. But the mark that I have given you, you would be mostly naked for someone to see it.
If it's all the same to you, my lady, I will not be wearing your mark openly for reasons.
It can pose problems depending on where you are.
Yes, I have others that expect me to uphold my allegiance to them, as you can imagine. Not that I do anymore. My only allegiance is to you. I serve you.
Do I need a deception check on that?
No, Gendrix is just having trouble coming up with the right way to say these things because he's not used to saying "I serve."
Sure. But when she mentions, you can feel like a burning sort of at the base of your neck. About that big.
Okay. If I pull back and look at my shoulder, is my other mark still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're definitely still. Yeah, you don't have the mark of death.
Oh, okay.
You just got a fucking magical tattoo brand.
Oh,
You
dope.
branded like cattle.
Well then, suppose we should get back to the task at hand. We should gather our friends and we should go and seek out Tragram.
Very well. So are you gonna you'll take time to draw the?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No reason to like. Have to
Does
roll
she
for
like
that.
show me where that's at? I guess.
Yeah, she'll take you to the teleportation circle. She brings you back to the third floor eventually, and she says, "You'll find your friends waking from their sleep. They should feel well rested.
Well,
When you're
Will I?
ready to go, let me know. I shall send you back."
will I still pose a threat to my friends?
Ah, you mean your interesting dietary desires?
Yes.
If you wish to not starve, then perhaps yes, you will.
And will I be able to control that later?
Are you able to control it now?
To some degree, but not entirely.
As I said, you are an interesting creature to me, so I do not know the answer. I do not feed as you do. My phylactery keeps me rather hale. Just when you are ready to go, meet me back at the teleportation circle I showed you.
I guess I'll sit and copy this down.
You've already done it.
Okay, cool. Never mind. I'm gonna go now.
Let me copy it again.
Yeah, but you guys,
Oh,
you
no,
guys
really?
both wake
Okay.
up.
And they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
I will come bursting out of the room.
As you do, like they're both standing on that landing.
My spirit's laughing.
Oh, good, you're awake. I must have fallen asleep.
You were sleeping quite heavily.
I'm like at the last moment, I'm and I'm holding the puppet still. I'm like, and I'm gonna like hold them and try to like open the door because I just woke up and I'm not thinking.
Okay.
Riffin, is everything okay?
Yeah. And I'm kind of like, trying to figure out a good position, and they're just like, the front arms are like this and the back legs are like this. Yeah.
Terrible. Normally wood has the opposite effect.
Wow.
I could not say.
PG, man.
No, I'm sorry. When has that been a thing?
Not PG.
That one viewer is like,
Hey, they had to say okay before they watched it.
Well, it seems,
I look at you and I'm like, did you do something with your? Are you wearing makeup?
What? No, of course not.
Have you been crying?
You're looking
No.
a little sick. You sure you okay?
Perhaps I'm a little tired, but
Do you
no.
have a fever? And I kind of like drop over the puppets. I'm like, does he feel like warm or hot or like cold? I don't know what else feels like. I don't know what body temperature they have.
He feels like a regular person.
you get
Interesting.
used to it. Honestly, people react this way, but you get used to it.
Used to what?
Never mind.
Anyways, our job now has 2 contractors. One paying with gold and one paying with our lives. So perhaps we should go and find this Tragram and put an end to him.
I agree.
Vol said that she would send us back. Fortunately, we may have to return from time to time. But I don't see that being in the immediate future.
Very well.
Is he okay? What is?
I don't think we know enough about it yet. But he does talk to himself.
Sometimes
I'm
people
not talking to
experience
myself.
trauma, and they look like this afterwards.
You realize nothing is there, right?
There's a... Stop laughing!
Did you get some rest last night?
I don't know what I would call that.
I mean, I know you were asleep.
Wait, did you ever wipe the blood off your face, or do you still have it? Well, I can tell she's been into something.
Something in something.
Well, we have seen her eat raw meat, so I'm not surprised. I woke up with all my appendages, so I'm okay. I don't think we have to worry
Well, I
yet.
can't fix it like you can, so I don't know why you're upset about it.
Spray all the blood
Wait, what
all
did you
over.
mean fix it like you can?
I just clean myself up.
It literally looks like a magic spray ball.
Yeah, it's like a bottle, like a thing of Lysol.
It's his free breeze can.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I have like this I guess wet moisture stuff all over my face.
Nope,
Wet
it's
moisture?
just like canned air
It's like
almost.
canned air?
Yeah.
It's really just magic cleanums.
Yeah. It's just prestidigitation.
Press to winner?
It's a hard word
And
to
the
say
little
if you haven't said it in a
that I
while.
had in my hair fall out.
All right. Well,
Free
she
Shivani.
wanted us to meet her at the teleportation circle whenever we are ready. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Have we?
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, have we taken a look around here?
Why would we?
Why wouldn't we?
Because it belongs to a powerful lich.
Well, we belong to her as well, and I don't think that she is interested in damaging her goods. But there may be something here that would be useful,
Well,
or
he's
that we can
distracted. I'm
sell.
gonna, like wave in that area where there was a person.
I'll stay here while you ransack
There's
the
nothing
lich's
It's not there.
cottage.
It doesn't feel like
Tower.
any different, like the atmosphere.
I will quickly go around to the rooms and just kind of like peek and see if I see anything
Sure.
that sticks out.
They're all the same.
They're all the same. Okay. No, she's a minimalist. I see. So there's nothing of value here. I think that we should vamoose.
I think I'm valuable.
Well, yes, of course you are, but that is not what I mean.
We could sell her. Technically, that has value.
We're not gonna do me into
No, I
prostitution
just
again.
mean
We
that
tried that already.
PG. No human trafficking.
I was just trying to say that value means make money off of, and therefore she could be valuable. I wouldn't sell her. I'm just saying.
That's good. I would prefer that we not sell any of us. I've grown quite fond
I was
of
just making a point.
the three of you.
I have heard rumors.
I
of
do not
those
like you.
that buy pieces.
Who are you talking to? What do they even look like? Who?
It would be a waste of my breath to describe this cretin to you.
Red lipstick, my white Valentino bag.
Sorry, Wes.
He's like, just poop on my story. Just poop it all over.
So there's a teleportation device somewhere around here.
Yes. We should meet with Vol when we are ready to go, if you are ready.
Just out of curiosity, does Vol look like a humanoid dragonborn? Like, how would?
Like just like a dragonborn,
So she looks like a dragonborn.
Like a dragonborn.
like a green dragonborn.
I'm pretty
So
sure it's
technically,
dead.
as a changeling, would I be able to look like her?
Ooh, that'd be rough.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But could I ever learn to like shift?
You could try,
Ship shaped.
but like you would look like the only version of a dragonborn you've ever seen is a lich version of one. So you could look like her because you've seen her.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
But you would
dope.
look like a lich dragonborn. You couldn't look like a healthy dragonborn.
Okay, that's what
'cause
I just wanted to
You've
know.
never seen
You
that.
can fill in the gaps with like putty.
No, she can only look like what she's seen. She can't change it.
Curious.
Putty of life.
Did we get long rests out of that as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, everyone did.
Yeah, because I'm still sitting here 0 health. Just running around talking and shit.
I'm dying.
All right, then let's sally forth, friends.
Okay.
Background?
You head up to the teleportation circle. She casts a small ritual. A circle opens in the air. You see back into that room that you came into or came through originally. She says, "When your marks burn, return to me here, and I will have further instructions for you." What's your marching order going through the portal?
I'm going first because I don't want to be part of these crazies.
Okay. So yeah, Riven just walks through.
I'll stand towards the back.
I'll follow Riven in.
Okay. And then you.
Yeah,
So
I'll
you see when they go, you can see just slightly, especially on Gendrix, because his coat's sort of a little bit, just, beat up a little bit. Not beat up, but just, like the collar's down and everything. You can see this slight green glow at the base of his neck. Same, you can sort of see it on Genesis too.
I won't even look at Vol, and I'll just walk past and hop into the rabbit hole.
Okay. Yep, you appear back in. If you hand me your map, I'll show you where you're at. Since it's been a while.
On the map. On the map. On the map.
You are.
You
this
are
room right
here.
here.
hither.
I can't say that.
That one.
That's right, because we were actually heading for.
Oh, sorry.
I remember now. We were heading to check out
Over
this
here?
area.
Yeah, you're in that little
room
3x3.
Cool. This one.
All right.
I want
Oh,
this
this is the
where
pit of writhing bodies, wasn't
Yep.
it? Yeah.
they were having a mosh pit.
Yep.
It's a heavy metal concert.
So where do you want to go?
All of this seems so unimportant now.
Alright, so it looks like there's rooms that we haven't been into. So wait, we've been into this one and this one, but have we been into this one?
Yeah, we didn't go to that long room.
And then we don't think we have been to that one.
We've been to that.
Yeah, we've checked
That's the
all
whole
of this stuff out thus far.
So even this one right
That's
here?
the beholder room.
That's the beholder room.
Mhm.
I'm gonna put a giant eye on there just in case we want to come back.
Or like a bee.
We did want to go back, remember?
Yeah.
He had like a bunch of treasure. Just gotta make sure he's not there, or else he will try to, shoot eyeballs at us.
Risk reward, man. You gotta open that little door.
Alright, I like that.
Get some eyeball raise.
There's an angry eyeball room.
Also, a question: would I be aware that I now have like Eldritch Blast and like Green Flame Blade? Like that's just ingrained knowledge that I have now.
You just pull
I
it
mean,
straight
yeah,
out
I mean,
of your
that's-
ass.
Yeah, I mean that's how she gave you the Warlock flash drive.
Yeah, awesome.
Just load it up.
Like flash my BIOS,
New patch.
hook it up.
Okay, so we've
That's
been
why
in
you
this
slept.
room.
Downloading.
Have we been in this one right here?
No.
And we've been in this one.
Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna put this as the mosh pit.
Yeah, it's the mosh pit.
Just because there's something special about that.
Mosh rit.
And this one had the
Ruh, ruh,
portal.
raggy. Yes.
And then did we go in this one?
No. We haven't been all over here that I know of. It's got a lot of windy shit.
I vote we go back to this room. We come out, we go to this room, and then go.
Because there's the stairs that led up were here, right?
Or where?
Right outside the door that we're at.
There's a staircase that leads down to the body pit.
Body pit.
Uh,
Oh wait, it was this
Forgot about the
hallway
body pit.
that led.
Yeah, that big long hallway was a stairway.
The one that
down
just
there.
drops off
Mhm.
leads to the. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So, shall we head north to this unexplored room?
I say we should.
Gendrix is just over here like playing with like a teal ball of energy in his hand.
I'm gonna lean over to you. I think she broke.
No, I'm not sure quite what's wrong with him. I'm not sure he got a good night's rest. The sooner we get out of here, the better.
You know
Something
what? How
wrong?
about we just walk that direction and maybe they'll fall.
I think he will.
Let's go.
I'm just gonna stare for a second, and then I'll start walking.
All right, so where are we going?
North.
Okay,
North.
so northwest.
Northwest.
Okay. Yeah, for the north hallway or the south hallway?
We're going to this little. Get into here.
Which hallway?
Yes.
So
The southern one.
Okay. You get to the door. It is unlocked.
it is unlocked.
I will open.
I open door.
It will be open, and one of us will be standing there.
Okay.
Do you want to take the acid?
What is happening?
Get out of this shit, bro.
Okay. Here we go.
I was all like, whoopah!
It was so pitted.
I'm about to get so
I think
pitted.
this is for you. Yep.
Oh, this is for me?
Mm-hmm. You three.
My dearest pawn.
Surprises.
the three of you, not Matt. This room is an elaborate study. Two human men sit in armchairs, drinking brandy from crystal glasses. One of them looks up, noticing your party. Welcome to the Council of Pure Thought. Please sit, have a drink. Tell us of your travels.
Excuse me, what the fuck?
Oh, my dear. Why such strong language? Please,
You
join
have a
us.
beholder not too far away from this hallway. This
well,
building is
but-
burned down, and we
but
find you. What?
This building is burned down. This building is not burned down. We are simply here discussing our travels. We wish to hear of your journeys.
What are you doing?
I will tentatively walk over, staring at him very awkwardly.
You don't see him. He's not there.
Okay,
Do I feel him poke me though?
Nope. He's
Okay.
not there.
then if he's not doing that in my face, I will just walk in.
Yeah, you don't see anything.
All right, cool.
So I
It's
don't
just-
even
it's
notice
just
that
three
he's
of you.
missing from the party.
Yeah, you're kind of like, well,
Whoa! Did you see where Gendrix is? He talking? What?
He was right. He was right there. He was.
I swear to God, if he's off talking in the corner to some visible being,
I'm sure your friend will be along shortly. Please join us. We wish to hear of your travels.
How many chairs are there?
There's enough for you guys to sit in.
is this like a therapy circle?
Yeah, I will go sit in.
It's
a
just
chair.
like chairs, like a lounge.
I'm gonna go lounge.
Do they have alcohol? I need some alcohol.
Yeah, there's like they're drinking brandy. There's like a decanter of booze on the table.
So how are you here?
Do you mean how are we here? We arrived a few days ago. We've secured rooms in this fantastic establishment, and we've been discussing with different travelers who come through. See, we are traveling merchants, and we mostly stick to the roads and don't have much adventure. So we like to meet with other people who stop in this inn that do go off the road quite a bit and speak of their adventures.
Who was the last to make it in this room and talk to you?
Oh, there was a charming young fellow. His name was I don't quite recall, but he had been to Kibara and he had been hunting giant striped cats. It was amazing.
Interesting.
Did he meet a worm
Oh, well,
sitting on a mushroom
I
or a
do
caterpillar?
not know.
Is it a caterpillar? It's a caterpillar.
He
It was
didn't
caterpillar
mention any
mushroom.
mushrooms and worms, but perhaps he was in Kibara. It is a jungle. Perhaps there were some worms.
Well, that is quite fascinating. But
So, like, what are you guys doing?
I was walking over to sit in a chair,
Okay,
and I sat in the
so you
chair,
sit down.
and then I was just talking to him.
So if you're a merchant, what do you sell?
Oh, we sell all kind of. Or are you just? What are you doing?
I'm standing up, drinking.
Okay. What are you doing?
I'm kind of like, I'll kind of like walk around like the perimeter a little bit, and then if there's a chair like sort of close to them, I'll sit in it.
Okay. Says, well, we sell all kinds of things. Mostly we trade in silks from across in Sarlona. They have fantastic silks there. We sail across the ocean and bring them back.
Are you by yourself? Just the two of you?
Oh, I mean, there are many people who come down to the common room on an evening. We happen to be the only ones here at the time.
All right, I'm gonna go up to the door and I'm gonna open it and I'm gonna look out.
Which, like, the door of like the common room.
Yeah, like one of these doors. And I just
Okay, you only see one door that like looks like it goes outside. You open it, you're in like it's sort of like a desert, like sort of landscape, not like a middle of nowhere desert, but like a Lawrence of Arabia kind of like oasis town. Like there's streets, and you see like these animals that have these big humps on their back and long necks.
What?
I'm gonna step out of the way.
And I can see it. I look through.
Mhm. Yeah, like you look. There's windows, and you see out.
Is she in the north door or the south door?
There's only one door.
Oh, there's only one door. Interesting.
Okay, I'm gonna close it and then I'm gonna open it back up.
Okay.
Same thing.
Mhm.
Where did you say your friend went? To a desert? Or
Oh no, he had been to Kabara. On
a
the
jungle.
Yeah, the jungles on the eastern shores of Corvair.
How did you make it here? What year is it here?
It was
I don't quite recall.
it's a strange question. It's 999 YK.
Is that what year it is?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Where are we at?
It says, this is the rampaging beetle. It's a fantastic inn here in Sarlona.
Rampaging beetle. There's quite a lot of inns named after beetles.
And they call themselves Pure Thought or whatever.
Yes, we are the Council of Pure Thought.
What is a council of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we are just a group of travelers and intellectuals who like to figure out the problems of the day. We mostly like to hear about people's travels, see what is happening in other parts of the world, how other governments are dealing with some of the issues of the people.
Well, the problem of the day is that I'm stuck in the middle of a desert and I don't know how I got here.
Well, we always say, wherever you're at, enjoy it. Please sit. You're very on edge. You're in this beautiful common room.
I will keep opening and shutting the door, just to see if anything changes.
Sure. This is a very lovely common room, but
Indeed.
this whole pure thought thing is no interest to me at all. So,
Well, I must say I am somewhat saddened by this knowledge.
you wouldn't be if we talked for 15 minutes.
I see. Well, then, if that is the case, then I guess you have nothing to tell us.
Not in particular.
There's two of them and only one is talking, right?
They're kind of back and forth between the two of them.
Okay.
So if I think really hard about the hallway we just came out of, and I'm just really concentrating on it, and then I open the door again.
You're not even aware that you are in a dungeon. Like, you're not 100% sure why you're in this inn, but there is no, like, previous before how you got here.
So we don't remember even teleporting here at all, or do we?
You remember, like, teleporting, like, back and, you remember all dealing with Vol, but, like, it's peripheral. Like, it doesn't even matter.
No, in that case, I'll just get up, gentlemen, and I'll straight up walk out into the Lawrence of Arabia town.
Okay, so as you step foot across the threshold out of the room, you're pulled back in, and we'll switch to Matt. What are you doing?
I am checking my friends' unconscious bodies to try and see if I can tell what the fuck has happened to them.
They appear to be really asleep.
And it's the faint aroma of herbs in the air.
Let me see.
Herbs.
Uh-huh.
Do I recognize the scent? Do I recognize it to be some kind of like sleeping agent?
No, just some kind of a fragrant type thing.
Meanwhile, I'm still freaking out.
So as you are,
shut the
like,
door.
poking at the bodies of your companions, the other two dead humanoid bodies, or apparently dead humanoid bodies, sort of rise up off of the ground, and they draw blades. At the same time, the two men that you were talking to stand up, and their hands turn into rapiers. That's going to be initiative, and that's where we're going to stop for this week. We will get to combat next week after Tila has had a chance to level up into her point in Warlock.
What the fuck is this encounter?
Alrighty then. So good to be back.
I've been waiting to get to this encounter for a minute.
I know.
It is weird.
I feel like it was such nice addition
Well,
for your
that's-
character to talk to. Like,
That's our
random
show for tonight, guys.
spirits.
We hope you enjoyed it. Real RP heavy. When we ended last session a month ago, the characters did something that I was completely not expecting them to do, and the consequences of that have fallen out by two people becoming warlocks dedicated to Vol with the Undying Pact. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. But yeah, they're back in the dungeon, and we will pick up next week, starting out with combat in this weird Dalcor sleep dream combat. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Maybe we'll have a camera for the combat mat, because that's going to be interesting to try and figure out how that works. But anyway, we will see you guys next week. Tune in at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we will be playing some more Dungeons & Dragons, jumping into some more Eberron with these fantastic players and this hopefully entertaining story. Till then, peace.
I'm entertained for sure.
Yeah.
Same.